All right, everybody, it's your boy Genius out at the range. Got the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 carry comp and the Rost Martin RM1C Comp, okay? I'm going to compare these two guns. I don't give a rip what people say in the comment section about how they're not comparable. Let me tell you why people say that just before I tell you that if they weren't comparable, if people didn't want to see them, then 90 some odd people would not have asked for a comparison between the two. Just saying, they are both subcompact. They are both competitors with one another. So yes, I don't care if one weighs a little bit less than the other, one's a little bit longer. I don't care what your thoughts are on whether or not they're comparable. I'm not comparing a Bodyguard 2.0 and saying that the M&P 2.0 carry comp has less recoil. I'm not doing that, okay? This is a fair comparison. But folks in the comment section get so twisted up because they're so brand loyal, okay? Literally had a guy say, because I said that the CZ P10C ported was better than the Echelon 4.0C comped, totally is 100%. He can't handle that. He can't handle that someone likes or has a different opinion from him, the world we live in, right? So he accused me of comparing the recoil on the P10C to a pocket pistol. I said, what pocket pistol did I compare it to? He said the Shield X. I almost fell out of my chair on the front porch laughing with drool coming out of the side of my mouth. People will say anything if they don't agree with the gun you choose or if they're a fanboy of another gun. I'm not getting into all that noise, therefore I'm not talking about weights, lengths, heights, any of that stuff, because these are both subcompact ported guns and they are compatible, or comparable should I say, with one another. I will tell you what I think about some of the features and what comes in the box, and of course we will do some shooting. Before we get started doing that, as always, just want to make sure you know Jesus Christ is your Savior. If you do not, if you want to know how you can know for sure you'll have a home in heaven, reach out to me at gsquaredtactical@gmail.com and allow me to share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can also support Amanda and I over on Patreon by clicking on the link in the right-hand corner of the screen now. You know what to do when you get over there. I'll upload everything over there. All your support is appreciated. Also, you can go to our website at gsquaredtactical.com. Click on the link in the corner of the screen. Pick up some merchandise. Click on the three lines in the left-hand corner of the screen. Scroll or pop down. Click on support the channel. You know what to do after that. One-time monetary donation. It all will go back into the channel. So let's talk a little bit about these guns. Again, the Smith & Wesson is a little bit longer, ever so slightly, maybe ½ inch, 3/4 inch, something like that. But again, they're both subcompact guns, both comparable. One's a lot more expensive than the other. The Rost Martin comes in around 5. This one comes in around 8. That is the Smith & Wesson. So huge price difference between the two of these, okay? Obviously, the mill, the slide work, the serrations, everything on the Smith is a lot more sexy, if you will, and certainly more functional, okay? Not to say that the serrations on the Rost is not functional. They are kind of like a Glock, straight up and down. Nothing sexy, but very functional. They work, okay? Now, there is serrations across the top of the Rost. There's, I don't know, cutouts and things on the top of the Smith. They put a lot of work into the slide. Okay, you can flush mount an optic if you get the SES MP2, I think is what it's called. Can't always read. The MP2 green, 2.0 green or something on the Holosun, it will give you a co-witness. Otherwise, you get a bunch of plastic plates, as I've mentioned before, with the Smith & Wesson, okay? You cannot flush mount anything on the Rost. You do need a plate. It does come with a RMR optic mounting plate, which raises your optic so high that you don't even come close to having a co-witness, which kind of stinks. But you don't really get much of a co-witness, if any at all, using the plate on the Smith either, if you were to put an RMR or something like that. The Rost just has a standard white dot on the front, serrated, blacked out on the rear. The Smith & Wesson is serrated also on the rear, and a green night sight on the front. The chunk port that is in these, just like in some of the other comparisons, the Rost Martin port is much, much larger than is the one on the Smith. They both have, well, the Smith has the 3 or 4 palm swells. There are 3 backstrap options with the Rost Martin, okay? The Rost Martin is ambi on the mag release. The Smith is not, although it is swappable. They are both ambi on the slide lock. Okay, I like the way the Smith takes down better. The Rost Martin is a combination between a Canic and a Glock. It has the tabs on the side like a Glock, and it pops right up off the frame. Don't have to slide it forward, much like a Canic does. They both have 3 slot accessory rails, and the texturing, obviously out here at the range, the texturing is better, more usable on the Smith & Wesson, but carrying the Smith & Wesson, it will rub you raw, so just be prepared for that. The texturing could be a little bit better on the Rost. It could be a little more aggressive, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close to good, okay? You do not have any type of memory pad, gas pedal, anything like that on the Smith. You do have a slight little gas pedal on each side of the Rost, texturing up there, index point, memory pad, whatever you want to call it. Both of them, actually, no, the Rost has a little bit larger trigger guard than does the Smith, so you can more easily get your finger in and out if you were wearing gloves or something of that nature. And so in the box with the Rost, you just get the plate for the RMR, you get the back straps, you get a 17 and a 15 round magazine. With the Smith, you just get 2 15 round magazines, you get a bunch of plastic plates, as I've already mentioned, and also you get a cleaning kit, because it is the Performance Center, and I have never even opened the cleaning kit, okay? One thing that I noted on some of the other comparisons with the Smith & Wesson 2.0 is just how paper thin the barrel was. And it is astounding to me just how paper thin that barrel is, even in comparison to the Rost Martin. Now, the Rost Martin barrel is not super, super thick, but it is like, I don't know, it is the thickest barrel on the market in comparison to the paper thin barrel on the Smith. I am still perplexed by that, don't understand it. Let's take a look at the trigger on the Rost. You have the center blade safety. Okay, you come down, you hit a wall. It is still a little bit gritty, but it is getting better. Okay, you hit a wall right there, brakes right there, 90 degrees on the wall, no rolling brake. Man, that is a good reset. It ain't Canic good, but it's pretty doggone close. You have a little bit of take up after the reset, which, yeah, you know, I prefer the CZ where it has no take up after the reset. Crisp brake. Not a bad trigger, as I've already said. A non-gritty trigger away from being an amazing trigger. You already know what I think about the trigger on the Smith. Center blade safety as well. You know, grit in that trigger as well. Still, after all these rounds, a ton of grit in that, even though I've cleaned it up and oiled it. More take up than is on the Rost. Okay, hits a wall right there, and it is a rolling brake. Okay, it's not a defined wall and braking on the wall. Okay, I'm not sure if you heard that reset or not. I can vaguely hear it since it's so quiet out here, but it's pretty much non-existent. Not tactile, does not push back on your finger. The trigger absolutely stinks on the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. It's horrible. It is what it is. Say what you want, get mad all you want. It's horrible. And if you think it's good, I genuinely feel sorry for you, because you are trigger depraved. There is no question about it. The trigger is horrible. $800 gun. Got to do better than that. But this gun, other than having a little bit of an issue with the slide lock, for whatever reason, when you pull the trigger, it pushes the slide lock up. I was having an issue where it was locking my slide back, but other than that, it has been reliable. This gun here has almost 800 rounds through it now with all of the comparisons. It's 8 steel, 124, 147, 135, 115. It's 8 everything I put through it, okay? It's not had a single hiccup, not even a hint of a hiccup, and it has not been cleaned, all right? Still has the grit in the trigger. Other than that, I'm not complaining about it. So, as I always do, I try to just take the first shots, familiarizing myself with each one, as I don't practice prior to shooting the videos. I don't have the ammunition to waste. I just go back and forth between the targets. I did so with the Smith and with the Rost, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so as you can see, I did slightly better with the Rost on that one, which honestly, Sadly, you might say, I kind of sort of expected that. It is what it is. The Smith has potential. If it has a little bit better trigger, it has potential to be pretty good, but the trigger is just that bad. Okay, so the next test I always do is I just stand here. Actually, I'm back a little further today because of the sun and different time of the year. I'm at about 15 yards, and my dots are zeroed for 15 yards, or were zeroed at 15 yards. Just standing here methodically shooting at the target. Now, I will say that I shot a little faster with the Rost Martin, just simply because the trigger's better and I just feel compelled to shoot faster. But I just shooting at a steel target, 15 yards, methodical, taking my time, just shooting. Which one was I able to shoot more accurately with? So let's check that out. Wow. I mean, obviously, again, I shot better with the Rost Martin. It just is what it is. I hope you guys know. I know the Smith fanboys, you think that I'm here to pick on Smith, but I promise you I'm not. I picked this Smith & Wesson over, oh no, actually I picked the Shield X over one of the comparisons we done. I don't hate Smith. I got a M&P, I'm sorry, I got a Bodyguard 2.0 in my pocket as we speak. Okay, I love the gun. I love the FPC. I'm not a hater of Smith & Wesson. I got a volunteer AR-15 that I love. I'm not a hater. I'm just not. It's just for the price they charge, they're not that great on their polymer frame pistols. They're just not. Say what you want to say. They're just not that great. But either way, I also set the camera up and I tried, as I do, to go down the dueling tree all the way across all of the targets, seeing which ones that I can hit, where I hit the target at, you know, pay attention to that, and also taking off all of the targets on the dueling tree. So let's take a look at that. So as you can see, they were mostly comparable. Again, I was shooting faster, doing so faster with the Rost Martin, okay? And I think I left two on both of them, two plates on both for the dueling tree, maybe three with the Smith. I have to look at it when I edit the video. But either way, I was more center of the target with the Rost, where I was hitting them, definitely doing it faster. But I would say comparable in actually hitting the targets, etc. Wasn't absolutely horrible. So I'm not going to give the advantage to one over another when it comes to that. So what everybody mostly wants to know is which one handles or mitigates the recoil or has less muzzle rise. So I tried my best to paint some orange lines on the telephone pole over here. I don't know how well that's going to work out. I'm going to try to use that in the future to try to give you guys a little bit better idea of the muzzle rise on the gun. But either way, it's a work in progress, so let's just take a look at that. So I don't know about you. I always let you guys be the judge and tell me in the comment section what you think. But the felt recoil in the hand, they feel very similar. Okay, I can't tell the difference one between another in the actual felt recoil, but watching the video back on my iPad over here, zero question that the Rost Martin is flatter shooting, which again I fully expected. It has a huge chunk port up there. The only port that's bigger, this is pretty close to the Tisas PX9 Duty Comp, but the two largest ports that I've done in all of these ported comp guns that I've done is, of course, first the CZ P10C, just a huge port, and then the Tisas PX9, which, by the way, I did choose for range fun anyway over the CZ, and they both have huge chunk ports, but the port on the Rost Martin is bigger. So range fun, absolutely, without question. Not going to waste time explaining anything. 100% going with the Rost Martin just for pure range fun. And of course, if I were choosing one of these for EDC, just because Smith & Wesson has been around longer, I feel like they can stand behind their product a little bit better. For some people, that's debatable as well. I'm going to give a slight edge, reluctantly I might say, to the Smith, only because, again, they've been doing it a lot longer than has Rost Martin. But, you know, at some point, just like with the Canic, I might have to give props to them because, again, I'm pushing somewhere between 700 and 800 rounds with this gun and haven't even thought about taking it apart and cleaning it. And it has ate everything and has been completely reliable and flawless. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm becoming a big fan of this gun. If in a year from now you can pick this up for 400 bucks, I wouldn't sleep on the Rost Martin. Totally would go out and pick one of these up. Rost Martin for range fun. EDC, reluctantly, I'm going with the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 carry comp. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't give me too much grief in the comment section. This is a good gun. Hey man, go out and pick up a gun that's fun to shoot. Stop being such a prude and such a gun snob or brand snob, and pick up something that'll work and have fun at the range with it as well. Thanks so much for watching. It is free to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. And as always, to our God only be the glory.